Hello guys, welcome to my channel. How are you doing? So this lady was saying her opinion about freedom of speech, about transition. OMG, look at the back she was getting because of making this video, or because of saying freedom of speech. They was really getting angry for her. Then I have to add all the video together and bring it here. Please don't forget to subscribe. Keep watching.
So in America, we have this thing called freedom of speech. No one has to respect my pronouns. If I'm walking down the road and someone wants to call me he, him, I might be upset about it, but there's nothing I can do about it because that's people's First Amendment right. Now, I've done my entire transition. I've been on HRT. I've had 2 different breast augmentations. I've had the literal surgery. I have female anatomy, or at least the closest thing I can get to female anatomy. If I'm not offended, why does it seem like so many people in the community, particularly the non-binary community, are offended? Is it because a lot of you guys, the only transition that's taking place really is your pronouns? Is it because you take it so personally? Because to me, my transition and who I am is a lot more than my pronouns. It's a lot more than someone just calling me she, her. If someone calls me he, him, I'm still Kelly. I still feel like myself. I don't need a pronoun to define my entire existence. I don't need to use a pronoun and respect someone who unalived innocent children to feel like, oh, well, I'm doing it for the greater good of the community. If anything, you're bringing the community down, which is exactly what I think the trans visibility movement did. Because if you really think about it, you guys, back before people knew what it was to be trans, before Caitlyn Jenner came out, it meant a lot more when a child would say, oh, I feel like I'm the other gender, because they didn't know what it meant to be trans. So it actually wasn't something that was just taught to them, right? They didn't just pick it up, hear it somewhere, and then think, oh, I want that label, and then they're gonna make a huge life mistake. If you want to call me a conservative, call me a conservative. I believe in protecting children. I believe in not respecting child unalivers. And I believe people that make transitions should go through a lot of therapy and make sure it's right for them before they jump into this. And they should be over the age of 18, honestly. And I'm saying that as someone who transitioned at 15. I truly feel like, legally speaking, the age in this country that you can consent to medication is 18 years of age. I feel like that's how it should be for HRT. Now, I'm not saying you can't experiment with clothing when you're younger. I don't see the harm in that. But honestly, I'm very lucky to not regret the decision I made at 15 years old, right? I'm very lucky to be happy with where I'm at. Not everyone feels that way. That's why we see so many videos of people detransitioning lately, because kids are being fed this stuff thinking they're transitioning, and then having regrets, and then they aren't able to get out of the body because of the permanent changes that hormones create. No one, I'm trying to protect people, and you guys are making me look like I'm a monster.
I'm gonna explain a little why misgendering trans people is more significant than a lot of people think, because this video really pisses me off. Words are not just words, especially when they are rooted in or associated with hateful ideologies. The same people who actively misgender trans people are the same ones who vote against our rights. They are the reason we face so much legal and social discrimination. Being misgendered to a lot of trans people is the constant reminder that they are not only respected, but they are not safe. For you to ask why people are getting so offended and upset by this is just reeks of fucking privilege. Also, in regards to what happened in Tennessee, the reason people are talking about not misgendering that person is because the people who are actively misgendering that person are doing it in order to villainize the trans community. They are trying to build an association between that individual's actions and the trans community in general. And with there already being so much propaganda as to why trans people are dangerous, that is so fucking harmful.
Freedom of speech means protection from the government response, not regular everyday people. It is not freedom of consequence from your words. That being said, since you are so gung-ho on pulling the ladder up behind you and saying that teens should not be allowed to transition, detransition. I'm completely serious, Kelly. I want you to detransition, since you so badly do not want anyone else to have the benefits that you had. Because at the rate you are going, the people you are siding with, that's the fate they want for you. Go get top surgery. Get rid of the tits that you grew on the hormones that you should never have had, according to your own words. I don't know if you've had bottom surgery, but guess what? You should get rid of that too. Go get a new dick. I want you to spend the years that you say were stolen from you, the years that you were too young and dumb to decide your own fate. I want you to spend the next, what do they say the brain matures around 25? Yeah, spend 10 years in a man's body and then rejoin the conversation. Because that's what you want everyone else to do. Because you had it good. You want everyone else to suffer for some fucking reason. So I insist. You go first.
As a German, I find this so interesting because we have a literal lawsuit going on against this lovely man, where it's decided that he is not allowed to purposely misgender a trans person. So of course, America and Germany are a bit different, but I'd argue that it could be a defamatory statement if you are misgendering a trans person on purpose with the intent of hurting this person's reputation. For example, I don't want a man in a dress near my children. Either way, there's a sound on TikTok where it says, if you're racist when you're mad, then you're just racist. And I think it's the same thing with misgendering another person. But please get me right. I don't have a lick of sympathy for a guy who shoots children at school.
Hey Kelly, this is the last video I'm going to make on you because I don't want to give you more clout than you already got. But I think you're confused about what freedom of speech means. Yes, you do have freedom of speech, but that does not mean freedom from consequences or freedom from criticism. For example, you can say the N slur and R slur all you want, but people are going to call you racist and ableist. Same way you can deliberately misgender somebody all you want, people are going to call you transphobic. You see, you can say all the bigoted shit you want because it's your freedom of speech, but people also have the right to criticize you because they have freedom of speech too.
Kelly, you can have your individual recommendation for other people because you've realized that there is people who detransition for this reason or that reason. And one of those reasons could be that they regretted it. You're one of those cases that didn't regret it. And I'm one of those cases that didn't get an option at all. I didn't have any option. I was not accepted by my family. I didn't even know trans existed, yet I came out at 8 years old and told my mama I was a boy. Did they seek for any kind of mental health for me? No. They didn't. And I lived in a world where I thought I was a freak. Kelly, when I was 19 years old, I got married to an individual that abused me. And we had 4 children together. She is also trans. And there are things on her body that will never change unless she goes and gets surgery done, like a face and things like that, that will always make her more masc presenting. And this is partially probably why she took her frustration out on me. There are some things you can't change when you go through the puberty that you were stuck with. And I didn't get an option for, hey, we could freeze your eggs so that you can have biological children. I didn't get any kind of way out. If I wanted to have children, I had to sacrifice my own body. And I went through preterm labor 3 times due to the mental stress of it. I will always wonder what it would have been like for me to experience what other boys did in their teen years. Crushing on girls, picking on them because that's what boys do when they think that, a girl's cute. I didn't get any of those options. I didn't get anything. They may seem like small things when you consider people making a mistake. Except for because I didn't accept myself and because I couldn't live as myself. I didn't have the option to. I married somebody that abused me. And I will forever be connected to that individual because of it. We're gonna make mistakes, Kelly. Whether it's marrying the wrong person or choosing to move to a different country or something of whatever. But we should be given the option to make that mistake. You know what you can't hear, Kelly? You can't hear the cries of the kids that are dead. Because dysphoria was too much for them. You can't hear their cries. Because they're not here anymore. So to generalize medical treatment as an overall statement for every human being, that's not your job. Definitely not pushing it legally to be that way. I will never know what it's like to have the appropriate experience as a teen boy. And there's a part of me that I've lost. A part of me that I can never have. I can only guess what it would have been like. I can only imagine what it would have been like. Get the first bit of hair on my face. To experience bottom growth. And possibly be big down there because of it. I'm not trying to get too technical with you, but you know, especially for trans women, the altercations of male puberty means that you guys can undergo several over surgeries of face, body, and so on. These surgeries cost an arm and a leg, and some trans people can't afford it. So they have to literally look in the mirror every day at something that doesn't resemble who they feel inside their heart. Where if they had the choice as a teenager, if they had the choice, they would have taken it. You know what majorly does happen to trans individuals when they come out when they're an adult? They were in an abusive relationship. And that relationship ends. It happens all the time. But it wouldn't have happened if they were able to transition when they were teenagers. There's a lot of regrets in this world, Kelly. But we should be able to choose our regrets. I should have been given the option of freezing my eggs. I should have been given the option to be with a cis woman if I wanted to. I should have been loved and accepted. I should have been able to get on hormones and puberty blockers. I should have been able to make my own decisions because it was my body. And I didn't deserve to go through the puberty that I did.
No one is arguing against your freedom of speech. You're just being criticized. What you are doing is making this horrible thing that happened in Nashville about trans people when it doesn't need to be. The shooter's identity is irrelevant. Despite the fact that identity plays little to no part in this, you've made so many videos talking about how it is required of you to misgender this shooter. No one is telling you to respect this shooter. They're telling you to respect trans people. And on top of that, in this video, now you're making it about non-binary people for some reason. You seem very uneducated on how non-binary people actually operate. Because claiming that the only thing non-binary people do is change their pronouns is really deeply uneducated. It's incredibly disappointing and just exposing you as a trans medicalist weirdo. Stop making this shooting about trans people, because it is not. It's about guns. And grow the fuck up.
I really want you to stop and take a look at what kind of people you're getting support from by posting like this. Because I've seen a lot of trans people say that you're harming them by posting this, and I know that you say that it's okay because you're trans, but I want you to look at the people that are supporting you. They're all saying things like, oh, well, as a Christian conservative, I'm glad that I can finally show support to the LGBT community because of people like you. The thing that they're referring to when they say like you and that kind of thing is a trans person who's not going to correct them or hold them accountable for anything. Because you're essentially saying, oh yeah, if people can misgender me, that's fine. And so then all of the conservatives are coming out and saying, oh great, finally, someone who will let me walk all over them. I support this because I'm not going to be held accountable. And I just want you to really think about that.
And you don't have to do a video response or anything like that, obviously. But I just want you to think about it. What pronouns do you use for Ted Bundy? What pronouns do you use for John Wayne Gacy? What pronouns do you use for Charles Manson? What? Which ones? Think about it. Answer that question. Then I want you to ask yourself, why? Because it's very important to look into yourself and to assess the reasons why you do the things you do. Because how else are we going to get anywhere in life without addressing that? I'm not coming on here and telling you, oh, you should think this, this, and this. I want you to come to that conclusion yourself. Okay? And you're probably not going to see this because you probably blocked people so that you don't have to listen. Because you're not listening to the rest of the community. You're refusing to. There's another question I want you to ask yourself. Another why, right? Why is it that you don't specifically care how someone genders you properly? Because from where I'm looking, it looks like you've passed pretty well, right? Guess what my pronouns are? Probably guessed wrong. That's the problem. If somebody else sees me on the street, I know who I am, right? Just like you know who you are. But the issue is that you have the money for HRT. You have the money for surgeries. I don't. So all I really have is the respect other people give me. So if somebody goes out of their way and uses the wrong pronouns, it fucking hurts. Because it's the same way as someone not giving a fuck about how you feel. Or if someone intentionally went out of their way to cause you harm. Because I'll tell you, it hurts a lot more coming from people I care about than it ever really does coming from strangers. I'm going to be completely honest there. Because it's based in respect.
Oh my god. I'm sick of this pick-me bullshit, okay? The fact that so many people are under that video going, oh my god, this is common sense, why can't trans people in my community see this? Fuck them. Fuck y'all. You guys suck. Kelly, I'm gonna tell you something very important, and the other people have been telling you this in your comments, but I think you really hear it. Not everybody is the same as you. You are a very rare case, actually. Not all trans people, no matter how old they are, have the money, the resources, the ability to get the surgeries that you have gotten and spent thousands of dollars on yourself. You don't care about that cis validation because you already have it. You already feel completely secure in yourself, so you're like, why is everybody else not feeling like that? Have you ever considered that maybe it's not that they're insecure in themselves, but actually that they're just tired of being fucking disrespected? Trans people, pre-transition, have to fight to assert themselves to their family, to their society, to whatever person wants to invalidate them. And it's frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. And I thought you, of all people, would know this since you transitioned at such a young age, but clearly you didn't seem to have many bumps in the road. I don't know you. I can't say exactly what happened in your experience, but all I will say is not everybody's like you. And also, not all people who are on the binary who are trans, not all trans women want to get those surgeries. Not all trans men want to fully medically transition or medically transition at all. Some people just like being called a woman or just like being called a man. Does that make them less trans? Does that make them less deserving of respect or validation? No. They're secure in themselves, they know who they are, but it still fucking sucks when somebody misgenders you because dysphoria. Kelly, you're trans. What the fuck? I thought you would know this. I was not expecting this kind of friendly fire today. Also, have you ever considered that not all non-binary people just change their pronouns? There are some non-binary people who change their appearance as well, physically. Actually, I think it's a lot more than you'd expect. Man, it's almost like people are different, with different preferences and experiences or something. Also, fuck off with the we need to protect the children bullshit. Those children, if they don't get the medical care that they need, will hurt themselves. That's not protecting them, that's hurting them more than they could possibly imagine. Children are pretty honest. They'll tell you what they need. If you want them to walk through it slowly, that's up to the parents and that's up to them. Get out of their fucking business, you bitch. Also, you knew yourself, you trusted yourself at 15. Why would you invalidate anybody else? I know that you kept saying, even though I was 15, I still think that the legal age should be 18. Girl, why are you literally throwing yourself under the bus like that? I hope that cis validation tastes real nice, girl. Nice job.
Why can't they just be okay with people misgendering them?
Because they don't have the fucking social acceptance that you have, bitch. Because they're getting kicked out and beaten and killed for just being the way that they are while you just cruised through your transition. Yeah, fuck off.
I've never actually recorded one of these before, so bear with me. But semi-story time, I guess, based on something in the video. She's talking about how it meant more when kids came out as being trans or anything like that when they were, not when they were younger, but before, because being trans wasn't as much known, but that also resulted in a lot of people and a lot of children being not confident in themselves or having whatever other issues, feeling like there's something wrong with them, feeling like they don't fit in. And I know this because I felt like that growing up from a very young age. And I actually did look into and try to figure out what was wrong with me. Why did I not feel like I fit in with every other female? I don't consider myself to be like trans. I don't want to be a guy. And you actually do make a comment about non-binary people being the ones that are pushing on this topic. Every non-binary person that I've met or know of doesn't get all, ooh, they didn't respect my pronouns. Like, from my experience and from my personal views and thoughts, I personally don't really care what pronouns people use for me because of the fact that I don't feel like I really fit into any of them. And sometimes I feel more masculine, sometimes I feel more feminine, sometimes I feel more androgynous. I don't really feel like I fit in anywhere. And that's fine, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable in myself. And you're talking about your pronouns are not all that define you because you have the body of a woman now. But a lot of people who are trans are not post-op. And that is one of the reasons why it is so important to respect people's pronouns, because that's just knocking them down. Just because you're somewhere else in your life doesn't mean that it doesn't negatively affect other people. I am very respectful of people's pronouns, and I am very pro respecting other people's pronouns. Because just because you've made it to the other side doesn't mean everyone else has that option, whether it's because of money, whether it's because they're still figuring out who they are and they're underage and can't get the operation done. It doesn't matter. Just be a respectful person. I get it, you can't control people, but I think that you'd have some kind of understanding from before you got the surgery. Just saying.
To cook right now. A commentary on transphobic people and the way they see things, and not her particularly. But because she fucking cracked the code. All the transphobic people, like, respect her. Like, they're like, wow, you're one of the good ones. They respect her. They even respect her pronouns. So all it takes for people to see you as you are is for you to reduce yourself to their level and make yourself look like a complete fucking fool, betray yourself and your community, and just lose all your dignity. Like, literally dehumanize yourself, and you will get all the respect from all the transphobic, all the cis people. They will love you. They will eat that shit up. That's it, guys. That's it. That's all it takes.
It's hate speech. Just like it would be hate speech to call somebody the N-word. It would be hate speech.
Freedom of speech is not freedom from being offended. I agree with you. However, how come you're the only one that's allowed to be offended?
Look at you and your respectability politics and your passing privilege and your white privilege and your pretty privilege and all that. It's great for you. It really is. That top is fucking adorable, though. It's like you really don't understand what's going on, and they're literally just saying, yeah, you're the good one. You're the model. Like, you know, there's a small group, and like, you're the one of the good ones. But I'm sure you have no idea what I'm talking about. And before you start talking about rights and all that bullshit, I know all about that shit. I had to learn that shit in fucking boot camp when I was, trying not to get, shot at and blown up, because that was fucking fine. It was such a fucking riot. They all these conservatives and all these motherfuckers are like, yeah, they agree with you because you're saying it's okay to disrespect trans people. That's what you're saying. You can disrespect anyone you want for freedom of speech. And that's just, it's wild. So any of my allies, my trans brothers and sisters, any of y'all, they pick their community, so we should just respect their wishes and just let them go be pick me. But y'all take it easy.
3 million views worth it? Is the attention you're getting because of this grift worth it? I just really want to know, because we are at stage 7 of a trans genocide worldwide. We are at 500 plus pieces of anti-trans legislation in America. We are at a time where trans people are fleeing their home states to get gender affirming care, or because they are at risk in their home states. We are at a time where kids are being taken away from their families because they're trans. And you are so lucky. You and I are so lucky. We have had access to gender affirming care. We have gotten the surgeries that we've needed to feel comfortable in our bodies. We pass. We're white. We have support networks. But what you've decided to do with all of that luck and all of that privilege is, in a time where we are begging cis people to see our humanity, you've made other trans people beg you to see their humanity too.